All right, everyone. So I'm going to be giving you some inside knowledge on how confession statements actually work in the real world. Now, I want to make a distinction between a confession statement and a hostage statement. So when people think of a hostage statement, they might think of, there's a video camera rolling in the background and the captor, he takes off the mask from his head, the little bag or whatever, and they're pointing a weapon at him and they're saying, hey, read aloud this statement. And they're, in this really shaky and nervous voice saying, oh, please give this guy, I don't know, $1 million, $50,000, do this little thing. While it sounds dramatic and it's very captivating, that's very rarely how it works out. Oftentimes, this is going to work out in a much more convoluted and far fetched manner. This oftentimes is going to happen if it is a private entity, which I worked in private intelligence and private counterintelligence, so we don't have the kind of immunity that a government agency would have, or sort of what you would call an official non state actor being sponsored by government agency of some kind, whether it's a foreign government agency supporting, say, a non state actor in an adversarial country, something along those lines. Now, typically, what will happen is the person will be sort of forced to do some kind of confession, right? They'll ask them, tell them what you did, tell them what happened on this day, don't lie to me, tell them exactly what you did. That can be fairly common, but not so in the private world, in the world of private intelligence. Once again, it's just because of the lack of immunity in these kind of situations. So typically, what will happen is the captive will sort of be forced to make up some sort of prefabricated statement, right? They'll be sort of forced to act out some kind of ideology or a statement, and they want it to look natural. So, for instance, if this person, say, is a public speaker and they're a very, very staunch supporter of left wing politics, for instance, or right wing politics, the captors can force them to sort of make a video, or even better, they can sort of convince them to make a video or to make some kind of statement where they are supporting something that would be extremely against whatever political faction they are supporting. So, for instance, if they are a big supporter of left-wing politics, they can have them go on and state something that would be very much against their ideology. And they can make it look like that this was actually before they got into social media or before they were doing public speaking, to sort of run it as a smear campaign. Now, in the event of this, of course, if there is any kind of violence involved, any kind of coercion or force involved, they really don't want to do that, because if you are working for as a private entity or for a private agency, we can take that as a green light event. So a green light event is essentially where both parties involved are involved in some kind of criminal activity, or they are both extremely at stake to the point where if any party tries to go to law enforcement, will both be at some sort of major loss. This can be common, say, with, the drug business. If, say, there are two rival gangs and both of them are involved in a drug business, obviously neither of them would want to go to the police. Or, for instance, if, say, I'm targeting someone that is involved in sex trafficking, like if they're a pimp, they're probably not going to want to go to the police if I come after them, vice versa. So, in that case, if you are running a smear campaign, you want to avoid creating a green light situation that would give the other party essentially an excuse and sort of to come after you physically, to perform direct action. Because when I was working in private intelligence, it was something that we really wanted to have. We would love to have direct action. Yes, I would love to go into this person's house, raid their entire building, and just start, stacking bodies, capture them, do a killer capture situation, whatnot. It's a lot simpler, it's less convoluted, it's more overt, and it's a lot less planning that we have to do on our end. All we really have to do is go in the house, right? Run a raid, and we'll obviously be doing quite a bit of practice beforehand, and it'll be quick and done. We don't have to try to build a cover story or try to build a counter narrative or anything of that nature. We don't have to. It's very simple. And we prefer it. I'm going to be honest with you. It is something that's very, very unlikely. It's maybe a less than 1 in 1,000 chance that it's going to happen. However, if it does happen, we want to fully capitalize on it. I want to take full advantage of it. Of course I do. So we are going to dedicate some of our time and resources to training. However, it's a very small amount of time and resources that we will dedicate to that sort of training and preparing for that sort of situation. I hope that helps for this one. Thank you. Take care, everyone.